All right. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to adjust myself over here. I'm getting ready for my green light. There's no one behind me because we're in a national sequester. So here's the thing. I'm going to descend and across the bridge, go to Aldi, all that stuff. Whether or not you know where I am, who I am, where I'm coming from, have you ever met me before in any context whatsoever? So if you're able to get out of that whole like zone situation and be like, all right, context or no context, beard or no beard, prior knowledge of this rabbi or not, you know nothing about what goes on inside of my own heart, and I know nothing inside of yours. But I will stake my chances on the likely possibility that there's, in this gigantic world of English speakers, right? And I just realized that my blinker was on, unintended. So I'm peripherally aware and fully grasping the thought that I'm trying to share. That and also that I have a tendency to shift my perspective into different places at the same time, and also go off into my own tangents about myself personally. Like, what does this have to do with the first thing that I was talking about? So, in light of everything that's been going on lately, okay? In light of everything that's been going on lately, I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just asked someone who I love, I'm like, hey, like, bro, like, are you aware of, like, are you thinking about, like, more than just, like, sequester, like, just not interacting with other people, like, that whole lifestyle change situation, thingamabob, and you're like, yeah, I think that, like, we'll just, like, bounce back. And I'm like, I don't want to be a doom and gloom, but, you know, so to speak, like a heart stoppage of 50, 30, 45 seconds or whatever, right? 15 days, 30 days, like nothing's going on, nothing's driving the engine. There's like no gas in the tank for the first time ever, right? You're driving on empty. And it's like, yeah, we're just going to bounce back. But then he admitted, I was like, listen, man, at least you should be peripherally aware. And he's like, I'm like, listen, if you're aware of something that's like scary, it's super scary that's going on, and like right now you're like freaking freaked out like me, right? And what's gonna happen next? So I think you see, part of what I'm thinking has to do with the fact that I would like for this message to be transferable. Like, that's my original intent. It needs to be transferable to not just to you, but to like different kinds of people with all different kinds of interests, so that the words that I'm speaking are kind of like a neutral experience, because theoretically, hypothetically, you could take whatever I've just said and stick it into any experience in life. So there's no context whatsoever in anything that I'm saying, except for the fact that I let you know that I'm sharing this with you after, like, we're in the middle of a free fall crisis. And I'm like, dude, it looks like this supermarket is super, super full. And that's a little bit annoying, because what I like about Aldi is, like, I've taken it so much for granted that we've got, like, food, like, all over the place. There's, like, even in a national lockdown, there's just, like, food. Like, people are eating, like, look, like, we're Americans. We're like, we've got everything that we ever wanted. That's the whole idea, right? And we're so used to just, like, chomping and munching and all that stuff. And it's like, you ever stop and think, like, where's that stuff come from? And so, to continue my earlier conversation, I hope that these earbuds are working, because, I mean, like, while I'm making this, I'm like thinking about, like, how's it coming on the other side? Like, are you with me in the full context of this conversation? And so, yeah, I am trying to, like, include everyone and anyone. Like, you could look at me and be like, I'll bet you, like, if I share this with, like, 100,000 people, right, through, like, a paid advertising, a significant portion of those people will be just focusing on the beard of wisdom. You know? Look, I can go in, I could talk to you directly, I could think and talk, but why do I find myself talking so much about myself in these global discussions? Would you like to know the actual reason? Like the real reason? What is the purpose of the communication? The purpose of the communication. What's the purpose of the world? What is like the actual purpose of the creation of this existence? Because he wanted a dwelling place for himself. Like he wanted to be like, yeah, this is like, I'm cool in this place. Like I'm like totally, I am so cool in this, like this is my space. Like this is my area, right? Whether I choose to share it or not. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to share it, right? Create beings from nothing. The whole entire world is created from nothing at every single second. And if like God wanted to just like withdraw his like finger in the socket, so to speak, like we would just cease to exist in the first place. So we have to thank him for like existing in the first place. And then also I'm like, okay, so if I start talking, like alluding to religion in some place, I'll lose half my audience, right? And then I'm continue thing. I'm like, well, like what, like, it's not. In my mission, it's all about maintaining people's attention, so that I can perhaps try to impart certain wisdoms within them. And I know that whichever of you like have known me from a certain life experience, and you're like, wait, like Dover, like if you're sitting with me right now, would you be like saying this? And I'm like, well, I mean, I am telling you that I'm telling it to you right now. So that's why I share it with people who I know first, and I get all kinds of different like freaky, crazy reactions. And I just conclude, I'm like, okay, I've got a mental disorder. And I'll rub my eyes. Ugh. It's either that or maybe I'm just some kind of darn good actor. It's like a perfect Fiddler on the Roof thing. Now, depending who you are, if you'd like, I could share my Fiddler on the Roof story. But for right now, the main point of this like thing is that like if it were to if I were to like go anywhere, and so what about me? Like, why am I talking about myself so much? Yeah, I've got no one else in the conversation, so I've got to keep it neutral, so that you could like hear what I'm saying and apply it to any conversation. It's like the situation in the world going on like right now, it's perfectly biblical. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfectly biblical. I've got my transgressions, and that's none of your damn business. It's between me and my Creator. But I'd like to think that at least between other created beings, I'm like, cool, right? You hear the rattling of my engine? All right, so let's do something. Let's try a little experiment. Let's turn on the radio and see what we find, okay? Now, I'm not sure. You see, so why am I doing this? I know this song, all right? But I don't want the radio station to like cite me or like the singer for like copywriting his music. But this has nothing to do with that random thing. So this is like my world, my life, and we're all like stuck on our own, right? And I'm running around like a madman. I got a family, I got the kids. They're like stuck at home playing PlayStation like half of the day, and like Reg, he's got like, and I say Reg, I'm not like, I've got that thing. It's like if you're going public, you gotta like be ready to protect yourself, you protect your family. So I'm not gonna like go pulling guns out like while I'm talking to you, right? That's none of your damn business. So I try to protect my kids. Crap. Someone just sent me a message that I owe them money. Which brings us back to the original intention. We got to do something right now. So let's keep in touch, okay? We got to keep it real, keep it me, keep it you. Share it to at least one friend.